The first thing I saw wasn't my father. It was a stranger walking through the house I built, holding a clipboard, tapping on the walls, measuring the windows like he already owned them. My stomach dropped so fast, it felt like the ground had opened beneath me. The front door was wide open. My dad was standing on the porch, gripping the railing so hard his knuckles were white, his body trembling like he didn't recognize his own home anymore. And inside, sitting at the kitchen table like he belonged there, was my brother. The same brother who vanished 7 years ago. The same brother who didn't even call when Mom died. The same brother who now had a stack of papers spread out like he was closing a deal. That was the moment I knew something was very, very wrong. I didn't build that house for myself. I built it for my father. After my mom passed, something in him changed. He didn't say much anymore. The man who used to build furniture by hand, who could fix anything with patience and pride, suddenly struggled to open jars, struggled to stand for too long, struggled to feel like he still mattered. Arthritis had taken his hands, slowly, cruelly. And with it, it took his independence. I couldn't fix his pain, but I could give him dignity back. So I made a promise to build him a home where he wouldn't feel like a burden, where he wouldn't have to ask for help just to live his life. It took me 4 years. 4 years of double shifts, skipped vacations, cheap groceries, and saying no to everything that didn't matter. Every extra dollar went into that house. A $325,000 lake house, not flashy, not oversized, but perfect. Every detail had purpose. No steps anywhere, just smooth ramps so he'd never struggle to get inside. Wide doorways so he could move freely even on his worst days. Lever handles instead of knobs, so his hands wouldn't have to twist in pain. And the most important part, the woodworking shop. I designed it myself. Custom benches at the perfect height. Tools arranged so he wouldn't have to reach or strain. Soft lighting. Space to sit. Space to breathe. Space to create again. When I showed it to him for the first time, he didn't say anything. He just walked in slowly, touched the workbench, and cried. That was enough for me. That was everything. My brother wasn't part of any of it. He left years ago after a fight with my parents' money, of course. It was always money with him. Borrowing, never paying back, always chasing something bigger, faster, and easier. When Mom got sick, he said he'd visit. He didn't. When she died, he said he couldn't afford the flight. But somehow, he always had money for new schemes. After a while, we stopped expecting him. And eventually, we stopped talking about him. My dad would sometimes stare at old photos, but he never said his name out loud. It was like losing someone who was still alive. So when I pulled up that morning for the housewarming and saw his car in the driveway, I thought maybe, just maybe, he had finally come back for the right reason. Maybe he wanted to make things right. Maybe he wanted to be a son again. I was wrong. I walked up the porch slowly, my heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. "Dad," I said gently. He looked at me like he was both relieved and terrified at the same time. "She's here," he whispered. "Not you're here. She's here." Like he had been waiting for me to stop something. That's when the man with the clipboard stepped out behind him. "Great property," he said casually. "Solid structure. Good resale value." Resale value. The words didn't make sense at first. "Who are you?" I asked. "Appraiser," he replied. "Your brother called me, and just like that, the air changed." I walked inside. Every step felt heavier than the last. And there he was, sitting at the kitchen table like he hadn't been gone for 7 years, like he hadn't missed everything, like he hadn't abandoned us when we needed him the most. "Hey," he said, smiling like this was normal, like this was a family reunion. I didn't smile back. "What is this?" I asked. He leaned back in his chair, completely relaxed. "Just handling some things," he said. "Dad can't manage a place like this on his own." My chest tightened. Handle what? He slid a stack of papers across the table. Guardianship documents, a nursing home brochure, and a preliminary listing agreement. I stared at them, trying to process what I was seeing. You're selling the house, I said slowly. It's the smart move, he replied. We can get a great price. Put Dad somewhere he's taken care of. No stress, no risk. No stress? My voice cracked. You mean no control? He shrugged. You're being emotional. That's when I realized something. He wasn't here for Dad. He was here for the house. The first red flag wasn't the papers. It was how calm he was. Too calm. Like this wasn't his first conversation about it. Dad, I said, turning to him. Did you agree to this? My father's hands shook harder. I don't understand it all, he said quietly. He said it was temporary. Just paperwork to help. Help. That word hit me like a punch. Because I knew my brother, and he never helped unless it helped him first. I looked back at the papers more carefully. Dates, signatures, notarized sections. He had already started the process. Without me, without fully explaining it to Dad. You've been working on this behind my back, I said. He didn't even deny it. I didn't want you to overreact. Overreact. To him trying to take control of our father's life and sell the house I built? That house isn't yours, I said. He smiled slightly. It will be, once guardianship goes through. And there it was. The truth hiding beneath everything. This wasn't about care. This was about control. And once he had it, everything else would follow. Things escalated quickly after that. I started asking questions. He started dodging them. Then I started demanding answers. And that's when the cracks started to show. He was in debt. Deep debt. Loans, credit cards, unpaid business ventures that had failed one after another. He didn't come back because he missed us. He came back because he was running out of options. And the house? It wasn't just a house to him. It was a payout. A solution. A way out. You don't understand, he said at one point, his voice tightening. I'm trying to fix things, no. I said. You're trying to cash out. That's not fair. What's not fair, I snapped, is disappearing for 7 years and showing up with a plan to sell Dad's life out from under him. My dad sat there, silent, watching us. And that broke me more than anything. Because this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about confusion. Fear. A man who trusted his son, being slowly manipulated into giving everything away. Then came the moment that changed everything. My brother leaned forward, lowering his voice like he was explaining something simple. Look, he said, he can't live here alone. You know that. His hands, his condition, it's not safe. I froze. Because part of me knew that was true. There were risks. There were hard days. But that didn't mean stripping him of his home, his independence, his dignity. You don't get to decide that, I said. I already have, he replied. And that's when I saw it. The confidence, the certainty. He thought he had already won. That was the breaking point. Not the papers, not the lies, not even the betrayal. It was the way he looked at me like I was too late. Like everything had already been decided, like my father was no longer a person, just a problem to solve. Something inside me snapped. But I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't lose control. I did something worse. I got quiet. Okay, I said softly. He blinked, surprised. Okay? He repeated. I nodded. Let's go through everything. He relaxed instantly, thinking I had given in, that I had finally seen reason. That was his mistake. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. Then another. And another. Every receipt. Every payment. Every document from the past 4 years. The land deed. The construction contracts. The bank transfers. All in my name. All legally documented. All undeniable. I paid for the land, I said calmly. I funded the construction. I hold the title. His expression changed. Just slightly at first. Then more. That doesn't matter, he said, but his voice wasn't as steady anymore. It matters a lot, I replied. Because here's the thing he didn't know. I didn't just build the house. I protected it. Legally. Completely. There was no loophole, no shortcut, no way for him to touch it without my consent. You can't sell what isn't yours, I said. Silence filled the room. Heavy, final. My father looked at me, confusion slowly turning into understanding. My brother leaned back, his jaw tightening. You think this stops me? He said quietly. No, I replied. I know it does, but I didn't stop there. Because this wasn't just about stopping him, it was about finishing it. I picked up the guardianship papers. These, I said, they're invalid. He frowned. You didn't disclose full financial intent, I continued. You didn't explain the sale plan. That's coercion. His face went pale. And I've already spoken to a lawyer. That part? That part I had done the moment I saw his car in the driveway. Because something felt wrong before I even walked inside. And I trusted that instinct. The shift was instant. The power he thought he had? Gone. The control he thought he secured? Gone. All that confidence replaced with something else. Panic. You're overcomplicating this, he said, standing up now. No, I said. You underestimated me. My father finally spoke. His voice was shaky, but there was something new in it. Strength. I'm not leaving this house, he said. Simple. Clear. Final. And for the first time that day, he wasn't trembling. My brother looked at him, then at me, then back at the papers. There was nothing left to argue. No angle left to twist. No control left to grab. So he did what he always did when things stopped working in his favor. He walked away. But this time, it wasn't quiet. This time, he didn't leave with excuses. He left exposed. The appraiser packed up his clipboard and left without saying a word. The house felt different after that, like it had been holding its breath, and finally exhaled. Later that evening, my dad sat in his workshop. The light hit his hands as he picked up a piece of wood. Slowly, carefully, but steadily. I thought I was losing everything, he said. I sat beside him. You're not, I replied. And for the first time in a long time, he believed it. My brother didn't come back after that. No calls. No apologies. No second attempt. Because some people don't come back to fix things, they come back to take. And when there's nothing left to take, they disappear again. But this time, it didn't hurt the same. Because now we knew the truth. And more importantly, we were ready for it. The house still stands by the lake, exactly the way it was meant to, not as an investment, not as an asset, but as a promise kept. A place where dignity lives, where independence matters, where love isn't measured in money, but in showing up. And every time I pull into that driveway, I don't just see a house. I see 4 years of sacrifice. I see my father standing a little taller. I see a life protected from someone who thought he could take it. And I remember that day. The stranger. The papers. The plan. And how it all fell apart. The moment I pulled up the receipts.